Good morning and welcome to another edition of From the Desk of Dan White. First we usually start these updates with a market update. And, I've been saying for a couple months, the rally that we've been experiencing in the market since November has pretty much been because Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, came out at that point and said at least 3 rate cuts in 2024. And some prognosticators even embellished that and said 6 to 7 rate cuts. But they always say everything is data dependent. Well, we got some data this week. So on Wednesday, the latest inflation report from Uncle Sam came out, and it was hotter than expected. The March Consumer Price Index, the CPI, rose 0.4% for the month, making it a 3.5% year-over-year gain. And notably, core CPI, which excludes food and energy, also accelerated. That's up 3.8% from a year ago. You add it all up, and it looks like for the third straight month in 2024, the pace of inflation is tracked closer to 5% annualized, which is not close to the Fed's goal of 2%. So that's a problem. You got elevated inflation. You got a reported unemployment rate still below 4%. First quarter GDP estimated around 2.5% annualized. This is the data the Fed looks at. That leaves little room to argue that the Fed will cut interest rates anytime soon, as has been the prevailing market expectation. The market was expecting a rate cut in March. Then it was maybe May, June, and now they're kind of kicking that down the road a little further. So volatility picked up. We know what happened on Wednesday. The small cap Russell 2000 index went down about 2.5%. And the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones were all down about 1.25%. So what we've repeatedly said could happen, we have higher than expected inflation that happened today. So what's next? As the market fully prepared itself for higher inflation? Well, we don't know. Today bets on rates staying where they are through June rose to 83% from around 43%. Yesterday, those same traders are now also increasingly putting odds on the federal funds rate staying in the range of 5.25 to 5.5 at the Fed's following meeting in June, with the first rate cut not coming to September. For that to happen, it would likely take a series of more normal inflation readings and a substantially weakening job market. Right now, it's hard to argue that the pace of inflation is not running hot once again. And we know the market favors lower interest rates because it allows businesses to borrow money more cheaply. It's particularly important to startups that aren't making any money yet, or other companies that are saddled with high debt loads. But the Fed will keep rates higher if it decides the economy needs to cool off to reduce inflation. So that's kind of where we're at. We're not there yet. The Fed is still projecting cuts to come, and long-term trends for U.S. stocks remain bullish as the Fed pause trade remains popular. But the possibility of the inflation and market script totally flipping is on the radar. So we'll be watching how the market moves over the next couple days and into next week to see if this sell-off is going to be a real brief, tiny one like the others we've seen in 2024, or shows signs of longer lasting. And then what happened on Thursday, we got the PPI, the Producer Price Index, which measures costs for businesses, and that came in a little cooler than expected, up 0.2 versus Wall Street's 0.3 estimate. I mean, 0.1% may not sound like a large number, but it's the difference between being closer to the 2% annualized inflation range the Federal Reserve wants to get to, or closer to the 4% range. So what happened? The market went up yesterday. So the NASDAQ went up 1.7, the S&P and Russell 2000 were up 1%. So what happened? If you believe in the influence of Fed speak, New York Federal Reserve President John Williams, the central bank's unofficial number 2 ranked member, told reporters yesterday that there's no clear need to adjust monetary policy in the very near term, but he still expects the Fed to cut rates later this year. So that means even with inflation numbers re-accelerating through the first 3 months of 2024, the Fed isn't in a rush to cut rates. It still seems intent to stay the course and hold rates where they are while eyeing the possibility of cutting rates later this year. And I've suggested this for a long time. We might have a rate hike before we have a rate cut. And for now, it seems like the Fed is still waiting, willing to wait and see if inflation keeps running hot. But I will say this, I don't think the market has priced in a rate hike at all. And meanwhile, the U.S. Treasury just reported yesterday the national budget racked up more than a $1 trillion deficit through the first half of the fiscal year ending in March. Interest payments on public debt were up 36% to $522 billion. So that's where we're at with the market. Again, data dependent. We're still waiting to see, but this month's inflation figures were not encouraging. All right. We've got a couple events going on. We're hosting a happy hour for all employees of Christianic Care. Some of our clients work at Christianic Care. We're hoping they can bring a friend to meet us. We're hosting that on Thursday, April 25th at Firebirds in Newark, Delaware. And as a reminder, in order to attend, you need to bring a colleague or a former colleague from Christianic Care with you. Please reach out to Kristen, our events coordinator, to register for that event. And please note, if anybody would like to host a happy hour with their employer and their employees, reach out to Kristen. We're more than happy to do that. We're doing this for Christianic Care. We're going to do it with Boeing. Any large employers where we have a lot of clients, we're going to try to meet some other people by inviting you all out to a happy hour. We also have our Philadelphia Union game referral event. The event is taking place on Wednesday, May the 15th. Just a reminder for those who still need to bring a guest to a seminar. If you've signed up, the whole reason you're allowed to come is you have to introduce us to somebody. The final date to do so is April 24th. So you only got about a week or two left. Contact Chris for a list of our upcoming seminars. We're also having our Lewis office ribbon cutting. It's going to be a ribbon cutting event. It's going to take place down in Lewis on Thursday, June 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. If you want to come down, you can join us. We're going to have food trucks, raffle prizes, some fun giveaways. And be sure to pass this event along to anybody you know down in the Lewis area. I know we have clients that have homes in Rehoboth and Lewis. And if you have friends down there, we'd love to meet them. This would be a great opportunity. Tell them to stop by our office, get something to eat and, some raffles, some giveaways. It's going to be a fantastic event. We also have our 16th annual charity golf outing benefiting Granting Others Dreams. That's going to take place on Monday, June the 24th at Penn Oaks Country Club. So if you or anyone you know has a business and would like to be a sponsor, we have multiple sponsorship opportunities available. Again, please contact Kristen or visit our outings website for more information. So a lot of things going on. And always we appreciate those of you who have given us Google reviews, both in Glen Mills and Middletown. If you have a Gmail account, you haven't had the opportunity to do that. We've really moved up in the search engines from what Gary, our IT guy, tells us. And we pretty much have a 5-star rating. But if you can go on your Gmail account and give us a Google review, we really, really appreciate that. So I hope everybody enjoys these little messages from my desk, and hope everybody has a great weekend. Hopefully the rain will stay away and we'll get some great weather. Have a nice weekend.